And now, it's time for Southern California's sports fishing voice. Let's talk hookup. For the next 2 hours, join Pete Gray, Rock Cod Rick Maxa, Corey Sandin, and this week's special expert guest for fishing information, new techniques to catch more fish, and the most current scoop on what's happening in the water. Let's Talk Hookup is sponsored in part by Yamaha Outboards. Reliability starts here. By Ford, the official truck of Let's Talk Hookup. And Shimano Rods and Reels. Fish with the best. Shimano. Get ready for the fastest 2 hours on radio with the hosts of Let's Talk Hookup, Pete Gray, Rock Cod Rick Maxa, and Corey Sandin.
Good morning, anglers, and welcome to Let's Talk Hookup. I'm Pete Gray with Rock Cod Rick Maxer. We're in the world headquarters of Let's Talk Hookup right next to Fisherman's Landing in San Diego. And we have Captain Brandon Hayward from the Bight Sportfishing and the Bight Journal. Going to be a great show. Talking fishing here. You stay tuned. This is Southern California's sport fishing voice. Let's Talk Hookup on the Let's Talk Hookup app and radio network.
You've heard all about it. You know the anglers catching fish have it, so what's holding you back? It's a fact. FishDope.com really does help you catch more fish and burn less fuel. FishDope.com is the only fish finding service with a spotter plane along with a crew of top anglers on the water almost every day that report actual locations and catches. You can get daily catch reports from Point Conception to San Martin Island, 365 days a year. FishDope.com is for everyone, whether you have your own boat, fish on your friend's boat, or a sport boat. FishDope.com has online planning tools, moon phase, tides, hot bite icons, and more. So bottom line is, if you don't have FishDope.com, well, you're probably missing a lot of bites. Membership costs less than $50 of gas, and that's for the entire year. That's right, 1 year. What a bargain. Plus, use the special code to save $20 on a new FishDope.com membership. Check it out today. FishDope.com. Catch more fish, burn less fuel.
We all need to get around, but we all need something different from our vehicles. Your San Diego County Ford dealers have you covered if you're looking for a new truck this month. Plus, it's SUV season, so they have great deals for everyone. Whether it's a new EcoSport that is nimble and fun around town, or the Ford Explorer that is capable of putting a boat in the water and has seating for 7, Ford has you covered. Ford trucks and SUVs aren't just powerful and legendary. They have the latest technology that helps you seamlessly connect your smartphone and ensure you're safe on the road. Features like Pro Trailer Backup Assist on trucks are truly a game changer at the ramp, helping you back up a trailer by simply turning a knob on the dash and doing the hard work for you. So check out all the great deals during SUV season and save some money on the right gear for you. Learn more at buyfordnow.com or visit your San Diego County Ford dealers today. They'll be glad to hook you up.
Welcome back to Let's Talk Hookup. Going to be a great morning talking fishing with one of our great buds. Going to be a good time today, man.
Indeed. Captain Brandon Hayward, good morning.
Good morning.
Hey, great to have you in the world headquarters here.
Thanks.
And,
it's been a little while, but I feel like I was just here too.
Yeah, indeed. So you've been fishing.
Yeah, we're still fishing. Sea bass are biting a little bit. Bluefin are biting a little bit.
Just kind of recreational.
You'd think it's Memorial Day.
Yeah. Yeah, you would think.
Yeah. We can take groups up north. It's just down in San Diego. We're still on standby, and we're online to start running out of the landing on the 27th of this month.
What is wrong with San Diego?
It's just different.
Oh.
It's just different.
So you can operate legally out of L.A. and Newport and
there's been a pretty strong trickle down. Ironically, like San Francisco started running first, which was the first place to go into lockdown. And then I saw a couple days ago that Santa Barbara's running. Their sport boats got the green light to go. Dana Wharf has been running trips on their smaller charter boats, and as of I believe Monday or Tuesday, the bigger boats are going to go on the limited load front. I know some of the LA sport boats are at Catalina over the weekend, so things are opening up, but it's just still tight down here for whatever reason.
Hopefully this week.
Hope so.
Yeah. It sure feels like it.
So you have a trip booked on that would be what next Wednesday.
Wednesday, yeah. I made a raft of. Usually we don't come down here and start tuna until after sea bass, which is in July, or last year it was actually August 1st that we started because sea bass fishing was so good and we ran out of Ventura. This year that bluefin's biting. Sea bass has not been as good as years past. I don't know what's going to happen with Ventura. both in terms of if the fish are going to bite and the weather front. I mean, it's real easy to go up there and you're up there all of July and you can only run 13, 14 days because of wind, Oh, okay. So it's the classic thing, fish for what's biting, and doggone it, those bluefin are really biting.
I can say that's always been your guys' style. Like you base your program around catching whatever the best trophy fish is available. And like the setup for what Bight sport fishing does with the bluefin right now, it's like tailor made. It's perfect. It is what you guys do.
I did it the one day when I brought the boat down. I was hoping things were going to kind of open up sooner, but it is what it is. And just driving around up and down meter marks, throw bait over the side, and fish boil up. Hook them on fly line, hook them on the kite. It really reminded me of that mid-90s bluefin fishing. Remember, it was like 93 or 94, and it was like 90 to 100 miles down the beach, and it was kind of pre-sonar. It was all up and down fishing. So Alan Fay would be on the Prano just tacking around trying to get an up and down mark to stop on, and it really reminded me of that.
Wow.
Plus adding in the style of not the visual foamer element of it.
Yes.
Gotcha. You know what I mean? Like having to like stare at a screen type thing, which is challenging in a small boat. I always say I like to be challenged in fishing, but then once I feel the challenge, I don't want the challenge anymore. So when you actually get a stop and you find something to stop on, it was pretty fun. So I stopped on 3 schools and they reacted. We didn't hook any. And then the 4th one was just really impressive.
That's what was so cool is in a boat like yours, whether you're on a trip with Brandon or you're taking your own park route for the day. It's one of the few times when, at least for us, when we had that same experience, it felt like you were fishing on a sport boat. It was exactly as you described. You're literally driving around, and of course you're looking with your eyeballs, but there's just not much to see. There wasn't a lot of visual sign, and then all of a sudden on the screen, oh my God, there it comes, and you throw bait, and they come to the corner and start boiling up. I mean, you might as well have been
125-pound fish.
Yeah, you might as well have been on the Royal Polaris at Clarion Island, because that's what was boiling off the corner of the boat. 125 pounders.
Pretty neat. I always look at a fish and they kind of have different personalities. Like sea bass, there's 5 or 6 different styles of fishing them.
Sure. And
depending on the different ways that you fished them before, you have a different narrative of that fish. And bluefin are the same way. How it's the foamer fishing, Clemente, this meter mark stuff. It's always kind of different. It definitely keeps you on your toes.
Yeah. No. Yep. So sea bass, what's been going on? You've been catching any?
Sea bass are getting to be more and more condition sensitive as we have less and less squid in bait grounds. And it's tough when there's not a lot of kelp to work with as well. So I've had some nice shots on sea bass. Every month I've had a big hit or a big score starting in February. It's just they're very condition sensitive. People are always like,
time for not a lot of fish.
A lot of people call and they say, are the sea bass biting? Like, are they biting now? Because I want to go next weekend. And I've gone over this on the show in the past. And I say no, I got skunk today, or I got limits. But whatever happened that day means absolutely nothing for the next day, let alone next week.
Yeah.
Because if the fish are in a spot where you need downhill current and you have no current, or the current's going uphill, you're straight up screwed.
Yeah.
There's nothing you can do about that. You could be the most talented island fisherman in the world, and if you have no conditions, you can't make that fish bite. You know what I mean? And conversely, you can be on the west end of the island where you need uphill current, and it's smoking downhill, and you can't sit the way you need to sit, Yeah. So if everything lines up, you can have a beautiful day on a beautiful grade of fish.
Yeah. And what about the coast with all this red tide? Does that affect it?
Yeah,
coast.
How's that been?
Yeah. So this is what's going on with the coast.
Because you've made a living on the coast over the last few years.
Totally. The red tide's gone, and we have beautiful water conditions right now. Even though the water did roll over a little bit with that last wind, and it dipped. I mean, it shot right back up 4 or 5 degrees that afternoon.
Okay.
So the coast, when I first started, there was a lot of squid around, and we had all those classic coastal squid grounds bites. And then when those got crowded, I could take the squid and go to a kelp line or a structure spot, below Dana Point or above, Camp Pendleton, wherever. So now we haven't had that squid nest style fishing since 2014, believe it or not. So we're going on it's been 6 seasons. But 15, 16, 17, 18, I did really good fishing structure with mackerel and squid. And we still had beautiful seasons, and that's when we were catching the biggest ones. That's when we caught the 80-pounder, the 70-pounders, all those big 60s. Got an 81-pounder.
Jeez.
It made the 50s look like they were 30 pounds.
That's unreal.
It was crazy. I didn't think it was that big. I weighed it 3 times. Anyways, so both legs have been kind of lopped out from under us now with sea bass because there's not a lot of kelp around and there's no squid around. So it's tough to catch them on the coast. I still haven't caught a coastal fish yet this year. And I don't take customers to go and do it because you can't kind of guinea pig with groups.
Sure.
So I'll like go with my kids and like sit on a different little spot or strip or whatever. But so far I haven't caught anything local.
Yeah. Tough.
You
island fishing.
Yeah. You just don't have if it's like a 4-legged table that you need for sea bass and you lop out 2 of the legs, it's kind of tough. Yeah. You can lop out one of the legs and like hold it up with your pinky, but once you lop the 2 off, it's just kind of like you're banging your head against the wall.
And then, like you said, you flash forward to what's potentially going on offshore, and that plays into what your customers like doing a lot. I mean, you guys have a success rate that is just fantastic with those big ones, and so it would make some sense to.
It's fun, and I consider it easier fishing than sea bass. You can go out and everyone can catch a bluefin or 2 a lot of times. You know what I mean? Not to say that can't happen with sea bass, but everything has to be going your way.
Yeah, sea bass is. I mean, well, think about it. Years ago, sea bass were like, you caught a white sea bass?
Totally.
Right?
And then there was this huge peak. Even if I'm not around, I always listen to Mark's 20-year thing.
Yeah.
And when that was happening, I worked on the first string summers here, but I was going to school, so I could only work weekends. And Bradley Phillips was an exceptional fisherman at everything, and he was good at all islands. There was just a lot of fish to work with then, and different islands biting, and it was just very, very different, I wish we had a shred of that now.
Sure.
A shred.
Yeah.
But things just change and cycle, and, boo-hoo, we got to fish for 125 to 300-pound bluefin right now.
Darn. Yeah. Oh, darn. So
and swordfish.
That's right. You did really well with swordfish last year, right?
That's kind of my new obsession. Hours of boredom and moments of sheer terror.
It's an offshore sea bass.
It's a total offshore sea bass, exactly.
What is it about you? You like all this this boredom and terror?
I like the chess game of fishing, and I like to feel like challenged. You know what I mean? Like I said, until it's hour 7, you've been staring at a rod tip and nothing's happened.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to doing some of that, and there's been a couple fish caught already this year, and that's a pretty neat thing that I love kind of dovetailing into our program as well.
So when do you shift into that?
I don't know. I'll probably go a couple times on my own time and try to get a lay of the land and figure it out. But to my mind, I was going to really start hitting it hard in September, September, October, November, early December. But I'm definitely going to try a little bit between now and then.
So give us the lowdown on Bight sport fishing. If somebody calls up and says, I want to go fishing with Bight sport fishing, what do you do? How do you set it up?
I started with just one boat and me when I still worked at Western Outdoor News. It was like a little tow dip, and I'd run trips after work, or I'd run trips on the weekends and such. And then I bought a 23-foot Parker, and then I had 2 23-foot Parkers, and now I have a 28 as well. So I have a 23 and a 28-foot Parker now, and Wes and I run them, as well as Captain James. And when somebody calls, we can take them to fish for sea bass or the bluefin, starting next week, hopefully.
Yeah.
And we really just focus on really creating not just big fish. I want to create an experience for people that matches what they want to do. And what that really comes down to is taking people who don't have their own boat, private boat fishing. We do take people that have their own boat and they want to learn and everything, and I'm down with all that. But a lot of people do the math and they realize, like I've said before, like while it seems like expensive to go with us 6 times is way cheaper than having your own boat and keeping it in storage and using it 9 times a year.
No question.
It just depends how you want to do the math.
And how much you fish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Myself in life, I'd rather just chop off my arm than die by 1,000 cuts. You know what I mean? But people like to kind of get picked away and look at things short term too.
Sure.
But
absolutely.
Most of our regulars have a fishing budget. They figure I have X to spend a year, and they come out with us 6 to 20 plus times a year.
Wow. 25. So do you keep a boat in both in San Diego and Dana Point? Where do you keep the boats?
No, I ran out of Dana Wharf sport fishing for a year when I had the Parker when I was doing those lobster trips.
Right.
But I run out of Newport now.
Newport, okay.
It's a little bit more centralized for us.
Yeah.
And there's some definite advantages to being up there. So we run sea bass up there, and then the tuna is down here.
Yeah.
But I'm also not scared to go up to Ventura. That's what we did last year for the Channel Islands.
You guys had some unbelievable fishing up there last year.
I should say not me, Wes. I ran one trip up there, and he went for it.
You just throw the boat on a trailer and trailer it up there? And
I drove it up on its own bottom.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But I have a trailer as well.
Yeah. Either way, you can transfer the boat.
Yeah.
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 I've fished. That's the advantage of a Parker trailer boat, right?
Exactly.
Totally. I've fished sea bass from above Conception, like in front of Halama. I've fished the Point Conception closure. I've fished the ranch before. I had some beautiful fishing below Isla Vista. The first 70-pounder I ever caught was there.
Wow.
And I fished them below the border like that classic bull ring, for lack of a better term, in 2013. So literally, the Southern California Bight goes from conception to the U.S.-Mexico border, and we've caught fish
above and below
everywhere.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool. As you can hear, we have a great show lined up for you today. Captain Brandon Hayward, you want to know about fishing? Talk to this guy.
Oh, no doubt, man. Going to be a lot of fun with some great info, and we want to hear from you. If you want to be a part of Let's Talk Hookup this morning, we'd love to hear from you. 833-288-0973. That's how you reach us on Let's Talk Hookup this morning. Again, 833-288-0973. Not only are we going to be talking fishing with Brandon this morning, covering all the bases, we are also giving away such a great prize, a pack of prizes at the end of the show today. First of which is a brand new pair of Maui Jim Sunglasses. It's the Piahi, maybe the single most popular pair of glasses that we sell at Fisherman's Landing is the Piahi. They just seem to fit everybody. Yep. Super comfortable, a great pair. This is the Mahi Mahi frame with that great Maui HT lens that just works in all light conditions, especially in Southern California when we get so many of those gray mornings that turn into bright days. That HT lens is just awesome. Always that super thin Maui Jim glass. And then with that, you're going to get 3 copies of that fantastic Bight journal, just the best print fishing thing that exists for sure. I mean, the photos and the long-form stories that you guys have and just covering all the cool stuff. It's just the best thing out there, and we are so proud to get to give that away to one lucky caller at the end of the show today. Again, if you want to get through, 833-288-0973, and when we come back, we're taking those phone calls. Lots of great info coming your way. You stay tuned. You're listening to Southern California's sport fishing voice. This is Let's Talk Hookup on the Let's Talk Hookup app and radio network.
Okay, we're here at beautiful Whalers Cove Lodge in Angoon, Alaska, with Mark Powers, owner and operator of the lodge, and Chris Martino, who's running the new kayak program here at Whalers Cove Lodge. Mark, tell us about this new kayak program.
Kayaking in Alaska was just a natural progression for us to move to. We've got the conventional saltwater charter fleet. We've got amazing freshwater systems and eco tours. Kayak fishing has been something we've been watching for years. We've aligned with Hobie together a pretty amazing fleet.
Well, we've got tons of options. We've got a couple locations around the inshore area where we have kayaks staged. We've also got inflatables up in some of our freshwater systems. So we've got an opportunity to fish the lingcod, the halibut, all the 5 Pacific salmon species, Dolly Varden and cutthroat trout.
There's a dedicated page just for the kayak program on the website, whalerscovelodge.com.
I've experienced that freshwater fishing here as well as the saltwater fishing, and I can imagine fishing from a kayak has got to be just incredible.
Seakeeper, the leader in marine stabilization, has launched its newest, smallest, and most radically different model, the Seakeeper 1. Now, for the first time, stabilization is available for boats as small as 23 feet. The Seakeeper 1 is designed to eliminate up to 95% of boat roll-on vessels 23 to 30 feet with a fresh new look. The Seakeeper 1 has a compact flush mount installation and runs on 12-volt battery power. Installation is a breeze. It can fit under almost any seat, and now your skiff can enjoy the comfort and enjoyment that only a Seakeeper-equipped boat can provide. Check out the Seakeeper demo boat at upcoming shows and arrange a free test ride. Seakeeper has changed the lives of many Southern California anglers, including Pete Gray, and will allow you to stay on the fishing grounds when others need to head back to port. Visit seakeeper.com/take-a-ride to arrange a demo. Eliminate up to 95% of boat roll on your trailer boat. Seakeeper. Once you feel it, you'll never boat without it.
Here's John Ireland for Rancho Leonero.
The ranch is unique. It's one of the few places in the world where you can still drive ATVs up the beach. We have fishing from the beach. We have dive trips that we run to Pomo in a number of different spots. Kayaking, of course, has been real big. We were one of the first hotels to introduce kayaking. The ranch is small, it's intimate. It's 34 rooms, so everyone gets to know everyone. The old saying, where everyone knows your name. Well, truly at Rancho Leonero, the employees do know pretty darn near all our guests' names. And what's even more interesting is most of the guests know each other's names. Very personal, very intimate, and a special, special environment. 2 miles of beachfront, a mile on either side of the hotel. Rancho Leonero is really the last of the old-style Baja fishing resorts. 1-800-646-2252. 1-800-646-BAJA. And RanchoLeonero.com. I'll personally guarantee your best fishing experience and vacation at Rancho Leonero.
For local and long-range fishing, the Islander out of Fisherman's Landing is a favorite among seasoned or novice anglers. But Islander Charters is much more than great fishing. They also do incredible Guadalupe white shark diving trips as well as a schedule of kayak mothership trips. You need to check out the Islander on their website, islander-charters.com. The Islander is San Diego's leader when it comes to 2 to 5 day fishing. Watch the website for trips and adventures available. Experience the Islander difference. Visit islander-charters.com for all the details.
Welcome back to Let's Talk Hookup. Having a great time here on the Let's Talk Hookup app. Phones are packed solid. If you want to get through, again, the opportunity, it's 833-288-0973.
Indeed. Captain Brandon Hayward is here, and got to ask you, what's going on with the Bight Journal?
Bight Journal is one a year, and it's at the printer right now. They could kind of ship it at any point, but I was kind of waiting to see what happened with things opening up and everything else. So I'll probably hit go and get it shipped out on Tuesday or Wednesday of next week. But yeah, I do one a year. I love doing it. It's like a huge passion thing for me, but any more than that, and it starts turning into like a real job.
Yeah.
And I want to keep it kind of like roots and core
Cuts
and
into
fun.
your fishing time.
Yeah, totally, exactly.
Yeah, family time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, the next one's going to be, they're all the same. New, surprising looks at stuff, and sometimes take something that maybe another publication did, but put our own spin on it.
Can you give us any hints on what's in this upcoming issue?
You better at least tell me there's a Hewlett piece in there.
Yeah. Hewlett went to San Carlos.
I don't even need to know the story. I just need to know that it's in there. That's all I'm looking for.
San Carlos is on the other side of the Sea of Cortez. Okay. And as Californians, we think of LA Bay, Mulahey, right? But they have an equally as impressive fishery. You might even say better on the mainland side. It just doesn't get any press. Sure. And you got to kind of really want it to go there. So he takes you on a kind of trip there, complete with the Valeris flight and the best Sonoran beef tacos and the whole thing. So,
cool. Yeah. That's certainly one of my favorite contributors to your journal. I just really like. I like the dude, and I like the way he writes, and it's just a very fun.
Yeah. It's because with most contemporary fishing magazines, you know what you're going to get before you even get it. So, a lot of how-to stuff that's just rehashed. Not that that's bad, but you know what's going to be inside of that thing before you even open it, right? And there's still an element of surprise with this, and it's writers from outside of the kind of fishing community at times, which makes for an interesting read.
Yeah.
Cool.
It's just so rare that you said it best. If the piece is about fishing in Baja, it's usually a hook and a sinker and a fluorocarbon and go here. And it's not like going to the Pongero's house and seeing cool photographs of you eating lunch with the guy and having a margarita after fishing. And I like the spin that you guys always put on everything. It makes for some very enjoyable.
People like to read about people, and we like to see people. And there's so many great characters in fishing, and none of them get profiled because there's no ad dollars connected to like interviewing a human subject, right?
That's a good point.
So, yeah. So as soon as you aren't worried about that component of it, you can run free and do whatever. And the fact that there's no advertising in the editorial well, and there's just 100 pages of just pure editorial playground to lay out and do whatever you want, makes for a nice. good publication.
Yeah, no, it's a great publication. Yeah, so we'll look forward to that soon.
Yeah, late summer.
All right. Yeah. Very good. Well, hey, phones are packed. They want to talk to Brandon, Ricky, so let's go ahead and jump in.
You got it, man. How about we start it off this morning with Don. Don's calling us from Woodland Hills. Good morning, Don. Thanks for getting us started here on Let's Talk Hookup.
Hey, good morning, guys. Brandon, always good to speak with you. Don't get to see you that much because you're always down south when I'm trying to go north. But
I know.
How you doing, buddy?
We're good. We're good. How are you?
I am looking forward to the middle to the end of June and hopefully a sea bass trip this year.
I hope so as well.
Hey, my question for you is I love the Bight Journal. I think it's one of the best pieces of fishing literature out there in a long, long while. For you, what's the most difficult thing about writing?
Wow, that's a good question. Well, all writers are huge procrastinators. So just sitting down is the first challenge, right? And I've kind of grown to not. I like writing, but I love editing and pushing and pulling on it at the end. So the initial barf out of words is kind of tough to get to. But now that I have more time and it's not on a weekly, daily basis, I really like being able to play around with words and put them on paper, put it on the computer, and then revisit it 2 days later and fix my backward sentences and use different kind of plays. So the most challenging part is definitely just kind of getting started. And the way I try to hedge that is like by writing in like really cool, motivating places like Baja or Avalon or something like that. So yeah, so that's kind of the toughest part. But I think that like anyone who writes professionally would all say the same thing. And there's like tons of like writing quotes out there from well-known writers about the writing process and how tough it is to get started. So yeah.
Yeah. Procrastination is the
it's so easy to procrastinate.
I know,
This is the other thing too. If I work on the boat for 4 days, I work on boat, I come home, I have money in my pocket. If I work on the magazine for 4 days,
right,
I'm not going to see that money until 4 to 6 months from now, or it's different, you know what I mean?
Right.
And so one's a very short-term like play, and the other is more of a long-term play. So yeah, so that's
easier to motivate when it's a short-term play.
Totally.
Yeah.
And it's not always the easiest thing to write when you're coming off of 4 or 5 17 to 19-hour days, and then the next day you got to deal with a broken this and a broken that, and a trailer, and this has to go here. So
you mean boats break?
It's endless maintenance. Little sidebar. It was good hearing your voice too. Thanks for that. I lost a lower unit on the 23 Parker, which happens. You usually lose them around like 3,000 hours. We got 4,200 hours out of this one. That's really good. Yamaha. That's really good for a lower unit.
Yeah, totally.
How many hours?
4,200.
4,200
I did the math. That boat had like 31,000 miles on it. It went around the Earth 1.5 times in 2 years. I'm okay with that.
So that was in 2 years you had that many hours.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Dude.
That's a lot of miles.
It's a lot. But the hourly runtime for an outboard engine costs you so much money because you have to think about it like this. You have to save $1 for every hour or two for when you lose your lower unit. Mm-hmm. You're probably going to get 6,000 to 8,000 hours out of it. So that means you got to save about $5 an hour for when you have to repower. Mm-hmm. There's the fuel going through it every hour, plus the service that you're going to get at 100 hours to pay someone to do it. So your like hourly runtime on an engine, it costs you a lot of money, which we don't always think about.
No.
But then when you need to lose a lower end, or it's time for a new power head, or it's like, well, we hit 7,300 hours, we should probably slap on another one. Then it's like a surprise that you have to shell out 30 grand.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's a really curious, if people, that's why small charter boats, a lot of them kind of can't ever make it because they don't run enough. And the maintenance, it doesn't seem like it's this 1,000 cuts thing, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't seem like it at the time because you're kind of swiping the card, or like your dad's gas card the way it is now. And it doesn't feel like it at the time, but if you were like covering all these expenses, it costs you so much money. That's why you have to charge a lot of money to run these trips, because the overhead is really high.
Yeah. And and not only that, it's tough to make a living at it, right? I mean, it's not, I mean, you think about, well, I'm going to go buy a Parker and go get a captain's license and go run it and do a little 4-pack charter like Brandon. It's not that easy, right?
I've done the math on all this. If you want to if you're on your own and your parents don't buy you the boat and you're like really running it like a business, right? Yeah. I mean, you have to run 100 days a year just to be able to like pay rent and have a roommate in Southern California without having another job. That's hard to run that many days. And if you want to like own a place and like go on a vacation or something, you probably got to run like low 2s. And there's only like 3 people in the landscape that can do that. Yeah.
That's tough.
So good luck.
Yeah.
but it feels like a lot of money to them when they're getting the money at the end of the trip.
Yeah.
Right.
The $1,500 or what, 14, whatever they're getting, which isn't enough.
So what do you charge on let's say I want to go bluefin tuna fishing. Give us the program. Hey, by the way, Don, thanks a lot for the call.
Thanks. We do 2 types of trips. We do open party and charters, and the 28 that lives at the landing here.
Okay.
If it's open party, it's $695.
And for how many people?
4.
4 people.
And for charter, you can take up to 4. You can take 5, but we like to limit it to 4. It's $2,750.
Okay.
And on the 23, it's $2,100.
Okay.
If we do tuna.
And
sea bass is $1,950.
$1,950. And so what's the program on, let's say if they want to come down and go on the 28 and go bluefin tuna fishing?
I'm not afraid to change up the program, but our default schedule has always been 10 a.m. to 10 p.m.
Okay.
Because that fish loves to bite in the afternoon, and you get the proper wind, and the sundowners are usually the best. Yeah. Especially when it's that big fish at Clemente. And it gives you the opportunity to flat fall if you need to, or if that's going on.
Sure.
So that's how much it costs. But it's just like I've said on the radio show before, if Rock Cod Rick and Neil are going to take their Parker out and go fish that bluefin and go to Clemente and really go for it with ice and flyers and everything, it's $1,000, man, to take your own boat.
We've said it on the show. The value of a Bight trip is just, it's crazy. Like we can't do it. Exactly. You spoke the words. Like, we can't do it for the same money that you're charging to just get to go on the boat and be a guest. Like, it's,
right.
I still don't know how you pull that off. And that's not including, like you said, slip fees and all the other things like that. I mean, It costs that much. It's hundreds of dollars, over $500 in fuel. Flying fish are $30 a piece. Your load of bait's a couple $100. It's just, I think it's one of the best values in fishing, especially if your goal is to target a trophy style fish. And that certainly doesn't mean that it's going to happen, but it's a unique thing that, catching these real big ones it's trophy hunting. And it's just like going on a Bight boat is like taking one day out of the middle of a long range trip. And in a long range trip, you're not going down there necessarily to catch hundreds of fish per each person. Like, you're going to target a big one, and it's very common for you to get a couple of big bites over multiple days of trying. And if you could get one big bite a day, you had a fantastic time. And that's what it's like. You're getting a chance to trophy hunt with only 3 other guys, and spread those opportunities out. I mean, there's not always, when you're over there with 30 or 40 people, there's not necessarily 30 or 40 shots a day. But when you're there with 3 or 4, the odds start to become a little better in your favor.
Sure, absolutely. And people are getting spoiled now. The big fish around and catching. For example, a friend of mine texted me last night. I said, he went yesterday. How did you do? He said, we only got one 120-pounder. It's like, are you kidding me?
I know.
A fish of a lifetime in our local waters, right?
It's just because we're on a handful of years now of doing it.
Yeah.
But I have to check myself all the time as well.
Yeah. We were just as guilty. I had that conversation 2 days ago with a buddy. How was the last trip? It wasn't great, or how did the last trip go? Oh, it was really good. We had X amount of fish. Like, any big ones? No, we didn't find any big ones. We only had those 70-pounders.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and that was and then obviously we checked ourselves and we laughed about it. But that's what the conversation was. No big ones. We only had the 70s.
It wasn't that long ago where any tuna over 40 pounds in local waters was like, whoa! If you caught any bluefin on a skiff, you're just like, I caught we got a bluefin.
Yeah.
Huge.
And it really wasn't that long ago where we had no offshore season at all. 2010 to 2013.
Yeah, sure.
It's just the way things have changed are really something.
We're very lucky here.
So lucky.
No doubt about it.
Well, let's jump into the phone.
You got it, buddy. How about next up we talk to Dennis. Dennis is calling us from San Diego. What's up, Dennis? Welcome to the show.
Oh, it's a wonderful day outside. I'm telling you, I can't wait to go fishing. It's been some years with medical conditions, and then they shut down and stuff. But I was looking at your website, Pete, and I saw you've scheduled that you're going to have these Ford dealership things. And maybe the captain can elaborate on this, these social distancing things. How's that going to work on the boats and at the event?
We are scheduled to have our first San Diego County Ford dealer live remote on June 20th at Encinitas Ford. Of course, everything these days is tentative. So that's our plan. We're hoping to pull it off. We should be able to pull it off because things are starting to ease now. And, it's going to be kind of up to the person to come to make sure you practice social distance. The masks are going to be required. And we're going to rely on our people that come and show up to social distance themselves and practice the proper practices.
Same thing on the boat. I mean, even a small boat, your stern is 8'6", and it's 9 feet long on the back of the Parker. So there's plenty of room back there. It's hard because there's not, everything's so different here, county by county. It's like we're living in all different states as a nation. The best model that I've seen was from Florida. Florida has a huge boating culture, and they really, there's a different level of respect for fishing. It's just such a part of their fabric. You walk around a high school and all the kids are wearing like Guy Harvey shirts, and it's just so different. There's so much water there, whatever. But
they have a lot of bugs and heat.
They have bugs and heat, and they have a lot of boats.
So and there's a lot of Floridians there, like a bunch of them.
But what they did in Miami is they out of the gates they said for each, if your boat's 30 feet, you can have 4 people on it, for example, and so it's all set up so that this many people can be on this side of a boat and give everyone the ability to distance and everything. So I think that's a really good model to look at, and hopefully something like that comes down for us.
Shouldn't be an issue.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, thanks a lot for the phone call this morning.
All right, let's jump right back into him and talk to Harry. Harry's calling us from La Jolla this morning. What's up, Harry? Welcome to the show.
Oh, hi there, guys. Brandon, I have kept all the books that you've written and the Bight. Do you have any new books in the process?
Oh, I don't. If I was to do it, I would probably do a rewrite of the first book that I did, the Southern California Angler. But no, the Bight kind of takes all my time right now, and I can't really think of a subject of a book that really like draws me right now. And just the current state of things, I don't know if I could sell a book the way that I did when I was at Western Outdoor News, 10, 12 years ago. Like that.
It's a different world now.
It's different.
So electronic.
It's different.
You could.
It's different.
We get people in our store.
Really?
And I granted, I get that we're a small segment of it, but boy,
right.
yeah, we get that. We
People
get that
wanna
all the time. Wanting even the previous copy. Like you said, that would be a cool way. If time ever changed and did allow for it, because I mean, just think about the change that had happened since you wrote Southern California Angler. I mean, there's a ton of good info. The majority of it is, but there would be so much, addition to, that could be written in 2020.
No, it's almost like dated, even though I only did that book like 13
For
years
real.
ago.
Yeah, that's what,
Pretty amazing.
Yeah.
So it could come, Harry. Be patient.
Spectra to fluorocarbon was like kind of like on the edge.
Yeah,
then.
totally.
People were
Yeah.
like, whoa, what is this? What is this?
But now-
Top Shot.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and now it's just standard. So it's pretty, there's just been so much change in the last 10 years. Most of it for the good in terms of fishing.
Yeah, for sure. Hey, thanks a lot for the call this morning.
All right. Hey, well, let's jump right back into it. This time we're going to talk to Tara. Tara's calling us from San Diego this morning. What's up, Tara? Welcome to the show.
Hey, guys. Good morning. So excited
Tara?
to speak to you. I look forward to listening to you on the app every weekend. I
Thank
just
you.
have a quick question for you. I primarily go out on half-day and full-day trips out of San Diego, and I can never quite remember what species I need to set the hook on. Like when I have that bite, it's like, do I set it? Do I not? Can you help me with that?
Brandon?
Well, when people come out on the boat, I usually tell them anything that has like a fork tail, like a yellowtail or a tuna, they're going to eat your bait and just swim away with it so fast. You can kind of go into gear and just come tight and set the hook, but give them more of a jab. And when I fish tuna and I use a J hook, I don't even really set the hook. I just go into gear because the fish is swimming away from you at 20 miles an hour. If you just go into gear, the hook finds the corner of the mouth. But other fish like a white sea bass or maybe a calico bass or something, sea bass especially for what we do, that fish is just going to eat the bait and kind of just like lay on it and swim real softly sometimes. So you got to really wind down and pop them. And you can, whatever you think too. Rick.
What about if you're using a circle hook?
If I use a circle, and I use a circle hook for tuna and I just go into gear. Not for sea bass. You need to be able to wind down and set the hook on that fish.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
because a
J
lot
hook
of
for sea bass and
yeah,
calicos.
yeah, and I use a lot of lead heads for sea bass.
Okay.
A lot of times with sea bass, especially if you have that strong current, they'll eat the bait and they'll actually be swimming at you. So you're like bit, and you kind of people don't even realize it sometimes because it doesn't just eat the bait and swim away from you fast like a tuna. A tuna comes up, boils on the bait, swims back down, whatever. So you got to be really, really in touch with your bait, and that's why that kind of spectra and that short top shot helps you feel everything.
I think that was said perfect. That, you seeing that you were doing a lot of half day and 3/4 day most of the time. If you're fishing with a sinker, like any type of a dropper loop type thing, most of those fish you need to wind to get the slack out of your line and give some sort of a hook set. So anytime you're fishing on the bottom, for the most part, you're gonna always want to swing to set the hook, and for the most part, when your bait is fly lining on the surface and the bite happens where it's ripping line off your reel before you put the reel into gear, those ones you don't really need to worry about it. They're gonna set themselves.
They're gonna get it. So so if you're fishing half day, 3/4 day, J hook, set the hook.
Yeah,
wind down on it.
Having something, that's one of those times too where having a designer hook, having something like a Gamakatsu hook where it's so sharp.
Right.
And those things a lot of times will aid in that process where maybe if you should have swung but you didn't, those things maybe have a little easier time of winding up in the right spot of their mouth.
No question about it.
Regardless.
I think the biggest mistake, and Brian, you may agree with this, is I see people doing, especially on non, and that's a great way to describe it, fork tail, non-fork tail.
Right.
On a fork tail, it's not an issue, but on a non-fork tail fish where they're just eating the bait and sitting there, is I see people swinging with a bunch of slack in their line. And that's the biggest problem is you got to wind down on it, right?
I'd be more apt to just do a lot more winding and a lot
more
less
winding.
swinging.
So, yeah. So that's the key, is wind like crazy.
You
Tara.
just have to think about what style of fishing that you're doing, and I'm not saying you do this, but people love to come up with like blanket rules for their fishing or anything in life. Like when there's X, I do Y.
Give it a 3 count.
Exactly, right? And you just have to think about like the situation that you're in and where you are and what type of fishing it is, and then adjust accordingly. So winter calico bass on a leadhead and squid, where it's just like tongue, just sitting there, you're definitely going to wind into them and pop them. Summertime calico bass, when they're throwing anchovies over the side and there's bass flipping all over the place, and you fly line an anchovy on 15 pound, you can probably just push the lever forward and go into gear, and it just comes tight and you're just on. Little jab hook set.
Yeah. All right, Tara, hope that helps you out. Thanks a lot for the call this morning. You know, it brought to mind when you were talking about fish that swim at you or swim that you don't even know that you're bit.
Yep.
The most frustrating fishing experience I ever had was fishing. I was with Dave Pfeiffer and a guide down in Key West, Florida, fishing for giant tarpon.
Yep.
And the guide's full speed cutting these little mullet things for bait, just cut bait.
Yep.
And you put a piece of that cut bait on, and you're anchored up, and you're drifting back in the current. And, you know, these are 150-pound tarpon, right? And you could not feel the bite. I mean, I consider myself, I can fish, okay?
You're fishing a river.
But
you're fishing
a river.
It's
and you're running these baits. You're drifting these chunks of bait into the chum line that this guide is preparing. And I could not feel the bite. And the guide and Dave were just like, oh, here's one, here. Oh,
sure.
It's like, wait a minute. He goes, it's like, why am I not feeling this? It's like, it's
that's
so,
not your fishery.
It's like a little tick.
And slack.
And then once you finally get it,
Yep.
you finally feel that, okay, that's what it is.
Yeah.
Then you get it, right?
Those
But that was the most frustrating thing I've ever done.
And how frustrating that, you know, you having never done that, you just, this is a joke. Like, I'm wasting my time here. Yet that guide, you know, was bit on every single bait he put back every time, no matter what, every time.
Yeah, this is crazy. Yeah, indeed.
Well, I'm sure guys feel that same thing watching you cast a dry fly and getting a bite every time, because you know
about that.
Well, you know what I'm saying, though. You know where to put that thing and how to mend the line so that it goes every time, and you get a bite on every cast. And I'd walk up through there whipping a wand in the air, like, I'm not going to get a single bite the whole time. You know, that's the frustrating.
Until you say, watch me with this rooster tail.
That's it. Right. But surface iron.
And that's the fun part about it. And that's why, like, catching a bluefin, you get the, gotcha. You know what I mean? Like, that's what makes it. That's what makes it all the better. I dig it. Hey, when we come back, we got a lot more Let's Talk Hookup coming to it. We're going to check in with our bud Harold Davis. We got all kinds of great stuff coming up. You stay tuned. You're listening to Let's Talk Hookup right here on the Let's Talk Hookup app and radio network. Rock Cod Rick here for West Coast Marine and Parker Boats. You see them all over Southern California waters. Parker Boats at the launch ramp, the offshore islands. You wake up in the morning on an overnight trip, and there they are. Parker Boats of all size fishing in the same area as the Sporty. There's a good reason for it: fishability and seaworthiness. Of all the boats out there, my boat partner and I chose to get a brand new 25 Parker center console from Kevin Kelly and the gang at West Coast Marine, and I could not be happier. Wow, what a fishing machine. Parker Marine builds a heavy-duty, industrial-strength boat, probably overbuilt, but that's why so many 4- and 6-pack charters choose to operate Parkers. We thank the guys at Pinnacle Sport Fishing, Seasoned Sport Fishing, One-Man Charters, Black and Blue Sport Fishing for their confidence in Parker boats. Take it from me, if you are ready for a new Parker at a fair, upfront, and honest deal, you need to see Kevin Kelly at West Coast Marine, located at 1555 Newport Boulevard in Costa Mesa, or check out their inventory and information at westcoastmarine.com.
Hey, it's Shimano. We got to talk about Shimano. And we're talking fishing Shimano here. And what are you going to use for bluefin?
Right now, the exciting thing that we have is the Speedmaster. Now, Speedmaster available in all 4 sizes, the 12, the 16, the 20, and the 25. You want to talk about a reel that's easy on the budget, but still very capable of catching this fish, like Brandon's talking about, 100-pound bluefin, 125-pound bluefin.
Yeah.
You can go to the shop and buy a reel that is perfectly equipped to go catch a 125-pounder and spend less than $300. Like, it is
amazing.
the reel for it, Speedmaster, no doubt.
Yeah, that's absolutely just a great choice. And what do you put on it?
I would fill that reel, depending on which size you get, with 80-pound Max Quattro, and then I'd fish an appropriate size Top Shot. Right now, I'd probably be fishing 50-pound.
All right.
Little piece of 50-pound Seagar on top of my 80-pound Max Quattro.
Max Quattro Power Pro. Well, that's a great choice. Shimano at your local Shimano dealer. Get it now.
It's time to get excited about fishing, and Point Loma Sport Fishing has everything you'll need. They offer half-day and three-quarter-day trips daily, perfect for families and the novice or seasoned fishermen. Point Loma Sport Fishing also offers overnight to multi-day trips, targeting the best of seasonal catches. Visit their website at pointlomasportfishing.com, where you can purchase tickets online and get more information on the trips available, or call 619-223-1627.
Welcome back to Let's Talk Hookup. Having a great time here this morning. Phones have been packed solid. Great time with Brandon.
Yeah, indeed. And Mr. Harold Davis is on the line. Harold Davis, representing, he's the president of Captain Rollo's Kids at Sea, Friends of Rollo. Good morning, Harold.
Hey, good morning, dear Pete, Rick, Brandon. How's everything today?
Good, thanks.
Good, buddy.
And today is the last day, isn't it? It's the last day to get your tickets for the grand raffle.
You're down to the last few hours.
Ooh,
this is going to be the last few hours of the raffle. At 11 o'clock, we're actually going to stop. You have to email Tim at rollokids.org. There's just some fantastic prizes this year, and you don't even know where to even start on this thing, whether you want to get a commercial line winding machine, a Rancho Leonero trip, an 85. The Ranger 85 is taking a private charter up to 30 people of your choice. Oh, Brandon, did I see your name on there? No, next year. I see Brandon on there next year. And we got the Royal. Yeah, we got the Royal Polaris. There's just so many you can't even imagine. There's $30,000.
Which one are you going to choose, Harold? If you, of course, you're not eligible because we're on the board of directors, nor am I. But which one would you choose if you had to choose of that list?
Boy, I think maybe one of those $500 gift certificates to get one of those rods and reels and go bluefin fishing.
There you go.
That would just be awesome.
Yeah, and that's the cool thing is that you can choose the prize you want if you're one of the top 10 finishers in the deal. So,
yeah, and that's what makes this really kind of cool. And the reason we have to have a deadline to stop is they actually take the top 10 guys, and in the order you're drawn for the top 10 guys, you get a chance to pick whatever you want out of there. So it's a prize you want. And we give away some prizes that possibly you wouldn't want. Maybe you wouldn't want a Nordstrom's gift card, but you'd want a surfboard like we had last year. There was a guy that actually was in the top 10 that wanted that surfboard so bad he took it. And so this kind of makes a pretty unique opportunity for people. It's $10 a ticket, and it's cut off at 11 o'clock today, and the drawing is at 12. So if you're going to get on it, you need Tim at rollokids.org.
Okay, Tim at rollokids.org. You send your phone number and your name, and Tim will contact you prior to 11 o'clock once again today and get in on that. And then the raffle starts at noon, and hopefully your phone rings and you start making choices. Thanks, Captain Harold Davis. Appreciate that very much.
Great show, guys. Talk to you later.
All right.
See you, Harold.
Appreciate it. All right. Hey, Wayne from CCA California is on the line. Good morning, Wayne.
Morning, Pete. Morning, Ricky. Morning, Brandon. How you guys doing?
Good, thanks.
Wayne. Great. Okay, we're talking this morning about a day on the bay with CCA. Why don't you tell us about that?
Day on the bay with CCA. Everybody's been cooped up for so long. We need to get people on the water and let's have some fun. So the San Diego chapter and a couple other groups are getting together, and we're going to go out and you can get on anything you want to float in. And we're going to be on Mission Bay June 13th, 7 a.m. to 4 p.m. We're going to launch out of Dana Landing. Social distancing rules apply while out there. We're going to have lunch provided by Steve at Dana Landing, but we'll have a boat on the water. You guys roll up on your skiff or your kayak or whatever. We'll serve you lunch. We'll hand it to you across, and we'll give you a cell phone holder and some stickers, and we're just going to go out and have some fun. Just everybody go out.
Wow, sounds great. Now, is there an entry fee on this?
Yeah, $25, and that money goes to CCA. We'll raise a little bit of money. It covers a few of the expenses, and, we'll have some fun out there. We'll put some prizes out, but we're not going to have any kind of big raffle or party at the end because, the social distancing and all at this point.
Sure. And then details
go to our website,
on
CCA California.
Okay, ccacalifornia.org is the way you can get details on that day at the bay. Now, another thing we're going to just briefly talk about is AB 330. This is a dangerous bill. Just briefly tell us about that.
Yeah, AB 3030 up in the Sacramento right now is a bill that would make goals of the state to protect 30% of land and waters within the state and to protect at least 30% of the ocean waters off the coast by 2030. So from the ocean side part of it, I look at it as MLPA 2.0.
Yeah, like on steroids, because right now it's less than 10%. They're talking like 30%, right?
30% by 2030.
My God, that's crazy.
Yep, every environmental group's against us for it, and we're all trying to get against it. So we're trying.
I mean, you look at the list. You look at the list of groups that are for it. It's got a lot of hazards on it. I mean, we're going to have to really fight for this thing, and that's one of the reasons we need CCA California is, we may not have very many voices, but we've got a good voice if it's us, right? So somebody needs to oppose this, and CCA California needs to do that, right?
Absolutely. We all got to work together, guys. Remember, it starts in it starts with the legislation, and then the implementation is what we all got involved in last time. We got to kill it at the legislation side this time.
Absolutely. All right. So, in one way we can do that is just join CCA. How do we do that, Wayne?
Go to our website, ccacalifornia.org, and then hit join.
All right. Wayne, keep up the great work. Appreciate that very much.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Wayne.
Thanks. All right. Let's go
right.
ahead and jump back on the phones.
You got it, buddy. How about we talk to Tom? Tom's calling us from La Habra this morning. Hi, Tom. Welcome to Let's Talk Hookup.
Good morning, Brandon, Pete, and Rick. I was wondering if you have any kind of accommodations for handicapped veterans on any of your boats. I have a friend who can stand very well, but he has a harder time walking.
Yeah, we've taken handicapped people before, people in wheelchairs, et cetera, and from all different walks. So we can definitely make anything happen. And if you gave me a call, we could find a way to accommodate and what would work out best for you. But that's something we've done before.
And that's cool about being able to charter your own boat. You
Absolutely.
can kind of play your own rules, right?
Yeah, exactly. We've had people come out in wheelchairs before, and they have like an assistant help them out or whatever works. So yeah that's definitely doable. And you got to talk to Mother Nature the night before and see what the weather's doing and find your right day. But absolutely, yeah, give me a call anytime.
That's the beauty of your own trip. You can stay closer to the beach if you need to. You can go in early if you need to. You can make whatever accommodations.
Yeah.
When you charter the boat, within reason, you're
100%.
You're kind of picking the rules, kind of thing.
100%.
That's cool.
Yeah. Hey, thanks a lot for the phone call this morning.
Hey, with that, it's time to find out what's going on the water. Today, that Catch Report sponsored by the Fish Pros at Fisherman's Processing in San Diego. Bring your private boat caught fish to Fisherman's Processing and give it the treatment that it deserves. Drop your fish off between 8 and noon. You catch, they process. Let the experts fillet and vacuum pack your fish in table-ready portions. Fish Pros, the market is also open for fresh fish, their smoked and jerkied fish, spices, rubs, smoked cheese, and their famous tuna burger. And don't forget the brand new poke sauce and poke mix combo. Perfect when you got a 100-pound bluefin laying on the fillet table. See them at their Liberty Station location or order online at fishermansprocessing.com. So excited to say that our good buddy Captain Brian Woolley is back on the line. We missed you, Woolley. Good morning.
Hey, good morning, guys. Good to be back with you. It's been a little bit, but we're stoked to finally be able to officially say we can get the ball rolling up here.
Woo! I love to hear that, man.
Great news.
Always so much enjoy our Dana War Sport Fishing Report, and that's like our extended family up there, and we're just glad to hear you guys are doing good, and so stoked when we saw the news that you guys are just on the verge of back up and rolling.
Yep, it's been an uphill battle, certainly to say the least, but we got what we needed to get from the powers that be at both the county here and our city. So it's been very reassuring to know that we're able to get back after it. And the timing's pretty good here too for us. This crazy red tide that had just completely encapsulated our stretch of the coast here is all but gone. The water temps are starting to creep up here a little bit. We had some wind a few days that kind of dipped it a little bit. But, man, things are looking good. There's some good sign of some bonito off the beach here that maybe we'll get a chance to catch some of that. And, gosh, this rockfish that was closed for a couple months that we were only able to fish on for a few weeks there before everything came to that screeching halt, that stuff's more or less been untouched for an additional couple months. So we're excited. The prospects are good. We will be running with limited loads, obviously, the social distancing and some sanitation, so lots of little protocols, little ticks and changes to how we need to operate, and things like that are certainly going to be in effect. But we're stoked to be able to finally get the lines off the dock and get the boats back out. So we're definitely looking forward to that. So people that have questions or that want to get on a trip, we do have stuff available online. You can go to danawharf.com and book availability and check that stuff online. But probably the better route right now, though, would be to call our office. They can give you some more streamlined information, tell you kind of what to expect. If you have questions about, procedures and sanitation and things like that, do not hesitate to call our office. We're happy to help you out. Our phone number here, 949-496-5794. And we'll also put stuff out on our social media platforms, both Instagram, Facebook. If you guys, have questions, hit us up on either of those. We'll do our best to get back to you with your questions and things like that there. But exciting times for sure. We're just stoked to be able to finally get some sort of normalcy, albeit, in some limited capacity ways. But we're just stoked to be able to get back out there.
Bottom line is you're going fishing at Dana Wharf Sport Fishing. That's really good news, and hopefully San Diego follows suit. Orange County's just got it so much together than San Diego County. Just amazing. But, hey, thanks, Brian. Appreciate that. Great to have you guys back.
We're stoked, and hopefully, we have some good info to report back with you guys next week. So we're fingers crossed, and we're just pretty happy to be able to get back after it.
That's awesome, Willie. Really appreciate that, man. Great job on the report, and we are so stoked to say we will look forward to hearing you next week.
All right, guys. Thanks for that. Take care, and we'll talk to you then.
Thanks, Willie. All right, appreciate that. Hey, we're going to jump right back into the phones, and the phones are packed up. Everybody wants to talk to Brandon. John and Escondido is up next on Let's Talk Hookup. What's up, John?
Hey, good morning, gentlemen. So my question, Brandon, if we charter the boat from you, can we pick the time we're going to leave, or is it just set at that 10 o'clock, and is your times different for white sea bass than it is for bluefin?
You can certainly pick the times or do whatever to accommodate. Sea bass is, it's very different. I don't think I've ever left at 10 on a sea bass trip. We either leave really early, or sometimes I'll leave in the afternoons because that fish loves to bite in the afternoon or in the dark, especially as the water gets warmer and kind of going into this time. Sometimes you can fish for that fish till you're blue in the face during the day and never catch one, and then the sun goes down and all of a sudden you're just getting licked.
Vampire fish.
Totally, they can be total vampire fish. So hopefully, a lot of times we're out enough and you can stay on stuff and know when the best bite time is, and hopefully kind of have a little piece of it for yourself. We adjust times for everything. I just want to have a reason to do something. If I'm going to change the time or I'm going to leave at a certain time, it's for a reason, not for my own convenience or because we want to sleep more or something like that. You know what I mean? So whatever time is going to go along with the fish, and if we're running every day, then hopefully we have a pretty good beat on it.
The delayed, from traditional start time was clearly done based on exactly that, because I can't tell you how many days we were at Clemente waiting for conditions to get going. Okay, it's starting to look a little better. We're starting to see the fish grouped up in the meter. Hey, we just saw our first breezer, and just about every time, Wes just arrive on scene. You know what I mean? It was just
it loves the afternoons.
It was there for a reason. You guys made that time, and it was just like clockwork that, Wes would come in, just checking in with the boys. What's going on? Oh man, your timing is perfect. We just started to see it. It's just starting to show. And then that gives you, the hour or so to get located and get on them. And sure enough, when they want to bite, you're there, and boom, boom, boom. And he would make his catch and slide home in the evening. It was just it was so... You guys were such an efficient machine with those things. Your timing was it was perfect. It really, really was.
And if they're biting early or midday, we'll leave earlier. With sea bass, I found especially, you have to tailor your times around when they're going to bite, because if you leave it early in the morning, come late in the afternoon, even though before the trip leaves, everyone's like, we're going to fish hard, we're going to fish hard. As soon as guys are casting out and putting the rod in the holder and nodding off, people think it's a rod holder fish, and it is sometimes, but at Catalina, it's really active in the hands fishing. I haven't caught one on a dropper loop in years.
Because there's so much junk, right?
There's a ton of junk, and it's mostly structure and kelp lines, and it's not squid nest fishing anymore. So you have to be actively involved. So if you whip out there at 2 in the afternoon, they're biting at 3, that's perfect. But if you leave at 3 in the morning, and then you're like, guys, let's stay 2 more hours because they're biting at 4, people are done usually.
Yeah.
So, we try to, just like Rick said, tailor it so you're making the best of the windows. And even though we didn't have that kind of flat fall fishing last year and only got a couple handfuls of fish on the flat fall, those years when other years it was kind of tough to get a bite in the afternoon at times, but then guess what? It gets dark and you're getting doubles and triples.
That was it.
Wow.
Yeah. You make your whole trip in the last hour.
Exactly.
Yeah, indeed. Hey, thanks a lot for the call this morning.
Hey, when we come back, we got a lot more Let's Talk Hookup coming your way. Another full hour of your phone calls. You stay tuned. You're listening to Let's Talk Hookup on the Let's Talk Hookup app and the radio network.
The name that stands out among anglers is Fisherman's Landing, your top choice in local and long-range fishing. Hi, this is Doug Kern. Our hardworking crew will make sure your fishing experience is one to remember. We offer the finest open party trips from 1 to 3 days, the best charter boats available, and of course, our world-renowned long-range fleet is second to none. Fisherman's Landing is a full-service operation offering great half-day trips on the Dolphin and full-day open party trips on the spacious and comfortable Liberty. Since we introduced the full-day trips at Fisherman's Landing, the 85-foot Liberty has become a favorite among full-day operations with bunks for your comfort, huge bait capacity, and RSW fish holds to keep your catch fresh. Plus, Liberty has a big modern galley and 2 interior heads with showers. All our open party trips from half-day, full, or 1 to 3 day trips can easily be booked online at fishermanslanding.com or give us a call at 619-221-8500. I'll see you at Fisherman's Landing in San Diego.
Many years ago, Baja pioneer Bob Van Wormer found the area he called the Great Fish Trap in the East Cape of southern Baja and built what is now regarded as the premier East Cape resorts of Palmas de Cortez and Playa del Sol. Today, following in their father's footsteps, Bob's sons, Bobby, Chucky, and Eddie, have taken Palmas de Cortez and Playa del Sol to new levels with the largest sport fishing fleet in Mexico, a luxurious spa, and top-of-the-line resort amenities. Van Wormer Resorts have become a destination for travelers worldwide. But for us, Palmas de Cortez and Playa del Sol are just a short 2-hour flight away. No other tropical fishing destination offers the experience and value that you'll find at Palmas de Cortez and Playa del Sol. Now you can plan your Baja fishing vacation quick and easy by visiting VanWormerResorts.com. And when you're ready to book, it's quick and easy. Or simply call 877-777-TUNA for more information. Van Wormer Resorts, the East Cape's finest.
We all need to get around, but we all need something different from our vehicles. Your San Diego County Ford dealers have you covered if you're looking for a new truck this month. Plus, it's SUV season, so they have great deals for everyone. Whether it's a new EcoSport that is nimble and fun around town, or the Ford Explorer that is capable of putting a boat in the water and has seating for 7, Ford has you covered. Ford trucks and SUVs aren't just powerful and legendary. They have the latest technology that helps you seamlessly connect your smartphone and ensure you're safe on the road. Features like Pro Trailer Backup Assist on trucks are truly a game changer at the ramp, helping you back up a trailer by simply turning a knob on the dash and doing the hard work for you. So check out all the great deals during SUV season and save some money on the right gear for you. Learn more at buyfordnow.com or visit your San Diego County Ford dealers today. They'll be glad to hook you up.
Let's talk candidly about long-range fishing. This is Captain Frank Lepresti of the Royal Polaris and the Shogun. Nowhere on earth will you find a fleet of long-range boats like we have in San Diego. We are fortunate to have several top-notch operations to take you to the most productive fishing grounds in the world. We all offer good food, comfortable staterooms, huge bait capacity, and top-of-the-line fish-finding electronics. So why would you choose the Royal Polaris or the Shogun for your next long-range trip? What sets us apart from the rest? It's pretty simple. The boats, the crew, and the service. From the moment you arrive at Fisherman's Landing, the service begins. We help you load your gear and do everything possible to get beginners or seasoned veterans ready to catch fish. When it's time to fish, the Royal Polaris and the Shogun have the edge there too, delivering the 2 best fishing platforms in the fleet. But don't take my word for it. Come fishing with us. If you want the best, it's Royal Polaris and the Shogun. For more information, call 619-226-8030 or on the web at royalpolarissportfishing.com or shogunsportfishing.com.